And one of the terms that I recently came across, so we normally talk about trends, but one of the terms I came across recently engaging a team of futurists is signals, watching the signals in the environment and the market, which kind of give you an indication where the world could be 10 years or 20 years down the line. And I guess what we are seeing is that there is definitely an integration of different spaces, right? The integration of healthcare and technology, integration of marketing and technology. And I think for me, it's that integration of different industries, different spaces that's coming together. And I think as marketers, if you are not deeply looking at how tech enables you, you're going to be left behind. And it doesn't have to be revolutionary things. Even within your how you are managing your customer data and picking up insights from it. What type of technology tools can you use that help you get to that process quicker?
Are you feeling comfortable?
I am.
I've been waiting to do this with you for so long.
Yay. Yeah, I think you first reached out when? More than 2 years ago? I feel bad.
No, you shouldn't. You've given me the time. So it's consistency. I'm consistent and you give me the time. So how are you?
I'm glad it's finally happened. I'm good. Yeah, quite good.
How's life? How's everything around you doing?
Life is great, actually. I think I'm in a good space, both personally, professionally, as a parent. So life is good. No complaints.
And how's your son? I know you and your son are very close.
Yeah, you know, when you are a mother and you are rearing young ones, you kind of literally become their life, or they become your life, right? And they define what your life pans out like, because literally your focus is always on them. But we actually have quite a solid bond, which I appreciate, especially more so now that he's left me and gone to varsity, right? So there's no more like, hey, mom, hey, dude, please do this for me. Now I have to be like, whenever I think of him, I have to now reach out for the phone, right? So it's a different phase of our relationship, but also just quite, impressive how he's kind of owning the independence of shifting to a young adult, from a teenager to a young adult. But yeah, all good.
Nah, that's good. Phenomenal. So, like I said, actually, we've got your magazines here and all the achievements that you've managed to achieve. I was taking pictures in the room, by the way. So I take pictures, and we're starting this thing where, so maybe context. The CMO Corner has been around for what, 4 years now?
Yeah. Well done on that.
Thank you. And I'm realizing certain things about how we can actually grow and like build this platform to be much bigger. So we're building like a community where if you're part of the community, exclusive community club, you see certain things before the rest.
I see.
Them. Yeah. I see. So I'm taking like pictures of things to tease when people, you know?
Okay.
So I'm excited about that. But before we get there, we'll start from the beginning.
Yeah.
Iy'thakazelo zakaMthembu Mvelase, ne?
Mvelase, uNgozi, uQhudeni.
Ah, lovely. Are you from KZN?
Vela khona impela.
Where?
I am from KZN. I grew up in Mlazi.
Where in Mlazi?
Kwa-D, kwa-B, kwa-M. It's quite a big township. So I've been in different parts of the township. So M section, B section, which is where I actually was born, raised, and before shifting to the different areas. And I guess the movement within the township was also informed by where my mother was, career was, a teacher. And sometimes when she changed schools, she would then find an area or location that was most convenient for her, but also for us as kids in terms of getting to school. And then we have also a family home out in Guamapumulo, next to Stenga. So I think the love for just the nature and the countryside stems from that. But yeah, Umlazi girl through and through. Grew up in Umlazi, spent half of my life there. I literally left Umlazi when When I turned at 21. So I've been up here since then. So half my life was there, half my life has been here.
Then this is a Mlazi Connect conversation, basically. So it kind of was it.
Oh, lovely.
So this is fun. Cool. So growing up, mother's a teacher.
Yeah.
Are you the only child?
No, there's 5 of us.
Yeah.
In total. I'm the eldest daughter, but I've got an older brother, and then it's 3 girls after me.
And then how was that dynamic like?
I think somehow, and I guess it just happens when you're the eldest daughter, you kind of assume the role of being the eldest somehow, because you kind of more responsible. I guess boys, because they were allowed to be outdoors more than girls, playing most of the time. As the eldest girl, then you are the one who's always kind of shadowing the parents and doing all of that. But growing up, I actually used to love reading a lot as well. So I used to have my head deep in books, particularly investigative type of books. Nancy Drew's, the Hardy Boys. That was my space. But I also loved academics, or maybe I must say it came naturally, because I wasn't really the type that liked studying and opening a book for studying purposes. But I always connected well with my academics, I guess, because I did invest in ensuring that whatever I needed to do there was done and done excellently. Yeah.
And now you say you liked reading at the time. Is it something you still continue to do now?
I still do. I don't do it as much as I would love to. I must admit that. I think off late, picking up a book, I start, and then there's other things that just kind of come to mind, and then you kind of park it there. You want to go back to it. So I haven't read as many books as I'd love of late. But what I do enjoy is then listening to snippets of things, like a podcast here and there, where I can just pick up on a topic, or reading articles. I think articles, I'm finding those to be better in terms of consumption with the time that I have relative to lengthy books. But when I travel, then I make sure that I've got a copy, either hard copy, or I've got something on Kindle that I can then get into.
And do you think, from a leadership perspective, which we'll get to much later in our discussion, but you mentioned you're the eldest. As a result, how you show up, you tend to lead the rest. Do you think a huge part of your early days growing up, being the eldest, being a leader, let's call it that, has almost shaped how you show up currently in your space of work?
I guess it does, because you then assume responsibility, but I think it also gives you a sense of, when you see what you've led and you see people that you have led or given direction to actually achieving what they aim to achieve, it gives you that, kudos and motivates you to do even more of it. So somehow, without necessarily seeing it as responsibility. I think at the time, when you are younger, you see it as responsibility. But over the years, I've realized that actually it's part of what motivates me, and part of how I want to be remembered, and the contribution that I make, not only in whatever space I'm in, but generally just being there to provide support. And I say support because I strongly believe in servant leadership. But also, I spoke about how you see something morphing and resulting in an outcome. It's part of how I also show up as a leader. I believe that I'm a transformational leader through and through.
I love it. So in the end of our discussion, that's how I framed and planned our discussion. I want to talk about your leadership style and how you view it, basically. Now, growing up, what was Gugu's aspirations? Like, if you were to think back to like Kwabi, like, what were you thinking at that time?
I think somehow, growing up in the 80s and 90s, we all were conditioned to just work towards careers that added value economically, right, to the family. And because I was quite brilliant in my academics, I was quite good at mathematics, I'll say, at the time, and the likes, and the sciences. So somehow, you get shaped then into careers like you must think about getting into medicine, not so much engineering, because I realized when I got to matric that I could never do engineering. The technical drawing part was just too challenging for me. But in that, then somehow I always had the idea that, maybe I would be a doctor, right? But funny enough, when I finished matric, I was contemplating the number of years I would spend at varsity studying medicine, and at the time it was still 7 years, I think. And I was like, I don't know if I want to spend another 7 years sitting down studying. And then I decided, you know what, I'm actually going to go and do accounting. Funny enough, I had not done accounting at all during high school. But in my mind, I was like, CAs are successful, and I want to have a successful career. So I want to go and do accounting. Made a U-turn. I went to UKZN, stood in the queue. I had not applied, remember, for accounting because my mind was on medicine. When I got there, I was like, no, I've changed my mind. I don't want to register for medicine anymore. I think I want to do accounting. They're like, well, we'll put you on the waiting list because you hadn't applied, and also you don't have any accounting or economics in your matric results. So I was like, okay, sure. But while there, I think either on the way there or on the way back home in the taxi, I saw in a newspaper advert from Mangosuthu Technikon at the time. And this was in 1997, I think, or early 98. And it said they've opened an information technology department. And I think it's how they crafted the advert, it literally invited you to be part of the change. They were talking about the problem then, Y2K was about to hit the world, and they needed people in IT that could be part of solving the problem, right? And I was attracted to the solving the problem part. And I was like, I actually think I want to do this. So there I was, went to Mangosuthu, registered. I had not told them at home. I got back. I told them, oh, I didn't register for that degree that I said I was going to register for. I've now registered for this diploma in information technology. And that's kind of how it started.
So that's how you actually got into information systems and technology?
Absolutely.
Hectic. Okay, so now that's even more interesting because I'm trying to figure out how the accountant technically goes into IT. And how they shift from IT and goes all the way now to marketing. There's a common thread in problem solving that I see. But how does this all happen then? So you start, you do your degree. You complete your studies. You start working in the industry. And how, what happens, Gugu? What happens?
So I think it goes down to one fundamental, as you say, problem solving is one of the things that in any situation I'm in, if I'm offering my help, it's going to be, let's figure this thing out, right? So problem solving is one of those, but also curiosity. And I think it's a curiosity that drew me into, let me see if I can be an accountant. Let me actually see what this IT is about, right? So when I started working, I did actually practice in IT as a systems engineer. And I think halfway, not even halfway, probably about a few years into my career, I actually had a great opportunity to help an organization transition from legacy systems to newer technology. And they were migrating to a legacy system they had built to SAP, as we know it today. So while working in that team...
That's always a big thing. So
system integration and system migration is major. And while we were doing that, I was like, okay, I don't know if I actually want to do this for the rest of my life. And with system migrations, because you want to minimize the disruption in the business, normally then you have to work overnight, right, to do the transition. And then in that phase of stabilizing post-migration could take up to 3 months, right, to do that. And then I was like, I don't quite think I want to do this for the rest of my life. But also what motivated the decision, I had my child then. And I started thinking, I cannot be so far from him or only see him 2 hours in a day. And the reason was because the client insisted that we do migration at their plant, right? And their plant was in Springs. So I had to drive from Sandton to Springs every day. And I was like, it could be just in the temporary because it would have been that migration. But what about the next one? The client could be based in Timbuktu for all I know. So I was like, I don't think I want to do this for the rest of my life. I still love technology, but I figured out that actually I could still be in technology in a different space, right? Yeah. And then I transitioned to being a business analyst, and that's when I got into telco. So started out in telco as a business analyst, and as a business analyst at the time, my role was centered around facilitating the go-to-market for marketing and all the different departments in terms of making sure everything is aligned to take products to market. So I was then the interface between them and IT. And I was then assigned to the marketing environment to be their business analyst. So I was supporting in terms of whenever they needed to take new products to market, how does it impact IT? How does it impact regulatory? How does it impact finance? So I got to have a broad view of the value chain that sits within the business. And in that, I actually fell in love with marketing. I was like, I actually want to be the person who develops these products, who takes these products to market, and not the person who's supporting.
Got you. And you don't, maybe you do now, the amount of skill and expertise that you have, because I think your lens is very different, particularly in the industry that you work in.
Yeah.
You've got the technology know-how and you've done it. It's not like you just studied it and then you went into marketing. You've done it in your actual roles. And then you've also done the marketing stuff, which gives you, I think, just that breakthrough upper hand versus most people. So, and we see it in your work. I want to tell you now.
Okay, thank you.
Now, so then you get into marketing. So you exposed to marketing.
Yeah.
You get into marketing. Where did you start? Which company did you start? Because I know you've done your rounds. You've done MTN.
MTN. I started at MTN. Yeah.
And then how do you move across?
So within MTN, so like I say, I think the product management space within marketing was kind of the natural fit, right? Because it still has to interface a lot with the technology side, right? In terms of taking the products, building them, using the technology that's available at the time. So being in product, I then realized that actually it's not just about the product itself. There's a number of things that inform what product we ultimately take to market. It's not the technology and infrastructure that the company owns, but it's the understanding what customers actually need. So when I started engaging with the segment marketing team, who kind of put on a broader lens of marketing where they have to think about customer behavior, behavioral insights, merging those with customer needs, opportunity in the market. I think the transition then for me from product, because like I say, what attracted me to marketing is these people are the ones that actually learn things in the market. But then I realized the market context is what was at the core of it all. And the market context, like I say, being the consumer insights, the company positioning and versus the company ambition, the company market share. And I think that's then what then made me put up my hand to say, actually, I think I'd love to be on the segment marketing side. And I had quite a good base there because not only then was I crafting customer value propositions, but I got to actually also leverage my technical background, my IT background, and my analyst background, right? Because while there, I literally would be looking at the external perspective, but also looking at the insights coming from internally. And I think telcos, most people would know, have a big depth and breadth of insights because of just the engagement that consumers have with their phone. So you actually get to understand a lot of insights from there. But in that, I was managing a product that relied heavily on statistical analysis as well, understanding times of days that the customer is interacting with their phone, the network patterns in terms of when the network has high utilization, low utilization. And therefore, I started working with statisticians. And I think that kind of has stuck with me because even in everything that I do, data is always at the center of how I approach every problem or every opportunity.
That's crazy. You've got such a beautiful story. So, and I didn't even know this. So you spent time MTN, Vodacom, I believe.
Yes, Vodacom was not was short-lived. Actually, I sat next to Enzo last night. I was like, no, I was at Vodacom, but I was on the B2B side.
Yes.
And he was asking how I find it, because he is not a B2B person. I was like, well, I enjoyed it while there. And what I enjoyed about it is because when I was in IT, remember, we were interacting organization to organization most of the time. And one of the roles that I did have while I was in IT was a pre-sales engineer, which basically means that you are taking the technology or the solution and you are kind of breaking it down into information packs that are easy for the sales guys to then digest and take to customers. And if you think about B2B, oftentimes that's how B2B marketing is coordinated. It's usually through account-based marketing, direct engagement, where you have to kind of distill what the solution does and sell it. So I enjoyed it because it reminded me of my earlier years within IT. But I think the rush, the pace of consumer marketing still was kind of deep down in there. I was like, B2B, the cycle moves slower. I want to get back to like where the bulk of the energy is. And I guess that's why I didn't spend as much time there. But in deciding then where to go from there, an opportunity landed. It was Virgin Mobile. They were rethinking their strategy at the time. They were thinking about kind of getting back into the market. So they were existing, but they had lost significant share at the time. So when they reached out, they said they want someone to help them rebuild the organization, rebuild the brand, and just define their position in the market. I was like, I'm in there, right? Like I told you earlier, problem solving is my thing. So I was like, no, we're gonna solve this problem. Let's figure it out. But I didn't realize that it's not just about what you bring when you solve a problem. You need different components of the ecosystem coming together, right? And I guess at the time, the company was facing major challenges. And with that, I think eventually, as you know, it eventually closed a few years ago. It wasn't to be. But I think being there, though, I never counted as wasted time, right? Because I think it gave me a different perspective, moving from large organizations where you've got lots of resources at your disposal, moving into a smaller space where you have to kind of figure out everything and make do with what you have. So while there, because we did have a small customer base, we had to figure out then customer engagement in that space. So you don't have the CVM systems that you have in larger corporates. So you kind of have to define and develop your own CRM, whether it's on Excel or whatever it may be, you're going to have to do that, right? But also, I realized we don't have marketing budgets, but we had a graphic designer internally. I was like, you know what? Let's switch on digital, because then we can create the assets ourselves and all of that. So I think in a way, it helped for me to be able to operate in large organizational context and small context as well. So I think I've got that ability to say I can be in an SME and I'll make it work, or I can be in big corporates where the resources are available and I'll make it work still.
Oh man, great. So you've got the breadth and the depth in your career. You've worked in large organizations, you've worked in small organizations. Now you've added another layer and you've decided to go to an SOE.
Yeah.
And you've been there for a while, right? As a chief marketing officer for Telkom, you've done phenomenal work in leading amazing teams. After a long day of leading an award-winning team, doing amazing work, that's growing share, that's growing brand value, that is helping from a share price perspective. I was looking at your results, they look great. I'm like, Coco's on fire. What do you do when you go home to unwind?
Sure. That's an interesting question, hey? Because sometimes we fail to put ourselves or prioritize ourselves, right? And just take a moment to just, But I enjoy music, so sometimes I'll just put on music in the background and, like I say, pick up an article or so just to see what's happening in the world. mostly related to what's happening in our industry, what's happening also, what's shaping the evolution of just the economic landscape, geopolitics, and all of that, because it's quite integral in terms of how one then approaches their own work environment, because it's not just about what's happening within just the industry. Even things outside the industry do affect us, especially when you're dealing with consumers, because everything in the world kind of affects them in one way or the other. So that's one way. Or just sitting. The one that I really wish that I would spend more effort and time in is exercising, right? So I admit that that one is neglected right now. But it's more the reading, listening to music, and of late also TikTok. I tell you, it's addictive.
No glass of wine? You're a wine lover.
I'm a wine lover, and there was a time where I would literally almost daily enjoy my one glass, and that's that. But I don't know if it's age. These days, I don't consume it as much. I still enjoy it, but I don't consume it as much. So it's Friday afternoons where once I get home, I then think about, you know what, switching on either Netflix Prime and finding a show to watch. And then the glass of wine will come out.
Okay, cool. Yeah. I'll take that. Now let's talk about, in an SOE, there is shareholders. We're all invested. We're looking at the share price. And what's that dynamic like from a marketing perspective? And the complexities of dealing with just the normal marketing stuff, but now it's an SOE. Trust me, ENCA will always report on what's happening on top. Like, this is just a complex world, at least how I look at it.
Yeah, I guess maybe the misperception is SOE, the thinking is that we are run and managed like an SOE. So we are a SOC, if it makes any difference. So the company part, because, and that's how we are listed in the JSE, because traditionally SOEs are enterprises owned by the government, but you rarely find them having external institutional shareholders. So we are a combination. So we have government shareholding, but we also have institutional shareholders, but also men on the street. You can buy Telkom shares and own Telkom. I'm glad to hear that. So how then we are run from a governance perspective is like a company, publicly listed company. So we abide by the JSE rules. And I guess the complexity and what I've started appreciating, because even though I did come from JSE listed organizations at the time in my career, when I was at the likes of MTN Vodacom, I wasn't as close to shaping and defining the company's strategy. Being there now, and I guess being in the highest position within marketing in the organization, I have to then think about everything that I say could be perceived as information that an investor could use, right, to make a decision about their holding. And I guess it's that responsibility, one, of knowing that you have to know when to talk and what to talk about when you talk, but also realizing that the value that you need to generate is beyond just the company, you wanting to get a bonus, but that there are people constantly looking at how the company is behaving. Because investors don't just look at the share price. They're not just watching what's happening in the stock market. They are listening to everything that the company is saying. They are watching how we are behaving. They are looking at our campaigns, and they are equating that to value, right? And whether that is value accretive for them, and it's going to add onto their share price. So I think I've appreciated more operating in an organization like ours, where you've got the multitude of stakeholders, but also knowing that kind of everything that we do needs to deliver value to various stakeholders, whether it's value to the customer, value to the investor, value to the employees internally, because we have to ensure that that bigger stakeholder is with us in the journey, and especially with our company right now, where we are in the journey of transformation. I think if you look at just you mentioned our performance over the last few years, you can see it's an organization that's transforming and actually taking a different stance in terms of how we position ourselves in the market.
No, you guys are doing well. From a leadership perspective, having you there from a marketing perspective, phenomenal. Serame at the top, phenomenal guy. I remember Serame, I think he was still at MTN at the time. We had the best time. I think he was in sponsorships. But he's a marketer by trade, right? Yeah. So I think the people that are shaping the organization are doing a phenomenal job. Now let's talk about teams. You obviously lead teams, and that comes with complexity.
Yeah.
What do you think makes like a thriving team in your eyes?
I think it starts with having clarity. What is the purpose? What is it that we're working towards? And I think if you don't have that, then everyone kind of tries to figure out where they fit in, right? And for me, it starts there. And especially because my team is very dynamic and actually very diverse. So I've got data science in my team.
Yeah, break it down.
I've got the classical marketing areas, traditional marketing and digital marketing. I've got the customer value management. I've got customer experience in there. So it's quite a broad team, and it's people that think differently. Like you have mathematicians and analysts in the one area, and then you've got people that are very much brand and marketing focused in the one, and then you've got customer engagement on the other. So if we don't have a common goal and purpose as a team, then everyone is kind of working just to make sure that their area looks good, right? So I think for me, building a thriving team starts firstly with just clarity and purpose, especially from me as a leader in terms of what is it that we are driving towards, and how then do we actually hold each other accountable, which is then setting the values, right? What values do we embody as a team? Is it excellence? Is it high performance? Because at least if that's defined and we are holding each other up to high performance standards, then no one says they didn't sign up for that because it was made clear from the start. But I think also just I always say, when you're engaging with people, always approach people from a human perspective. We are not there as employees of Telkom. We are human beings, ultimately. And the same values that I carry as a human being in interacting with our human beings outside of the organizations, I carry them into my team as well. So kindness is one of those. And I'll be kind even in engaging with them. I'm kind, but I'm very firm. Because I'm about results, right? So I'm I'm about results. So I will be firm in terms of what defines good results, but I'll also be kind in terms of then how we engage in terms of getting to that. And I think for me, that has kind of helped me in terms of just how I engage and interact with people. And because I've also always been someone who's like, let's figure it out together. I think somehow there's that appreciation that I'm not just expecting you to go figure things out. I'm going to be there and working with you in the journey, but I'll also allow you the autonomy to be able to do it on your own. Because I think when someone is allowed the opportunity to figure things out on their own, it actually gives them the motivation to do even more and show up even better.
And you see, for me, it shows what you mentioned. I think earlier on you mentioned something about loving the transformation journey. And your leadership style, as you mentioned it now, kind of shows and highlights that. One of the things I know for sure that you're also passionate about is mentorship.
Yeah.
What do you think makes a good mentorship relationship? Like, because you mentor a couple of people that are deemed emerging talent and they're excellent in what they do. What do you think are some of those dynamics that actually create a good relationship?
Yeah. I'll tell you, I've had some relationships where it actually never went anywhere. And I've seen some where I've realized that actually I have added value and I've learned in the process as well. And what I've found is mentees need to be clear about what it is that they want to get out of a mentorship relationship, right? And in some of the instances where I've had excellent relationships is when the person was clear. These are the gaps that I have, Gugu. These are the areas that I'd like you to help me figure out and maybe provide guidance in, because mentorship is not about a mentor giving direction and saying this is the direction you go. It's about actually helping the person get to a point where they figure certain things out on their own. But you are there firstly as a soundboard. But you are there then to also provide your perspective based on the journey you've traversed, right, or traveled. And their journey may not exactly be the same as yours, but there's nuggets that they can pick up from there. So I found that when a mentee is clear about what it is that they want to achieve out of the relationship, it actually makes it easier then, because also you as a mentor can decide right from the start if it's something that you can offer value in. And there's other people that have reached out to me and I've said, actually, I think there's someone that I can think of that would add better value for you. Let me reach out to that person and connect you with them. So I think that is the basis and the start of a good mentor-mentee relationship. Respect as well. And that's why I emphasize that you have to respect what their journey is and not necessarily want to have them mirror your journey. Because much as they're seeking advice and guidance and counsel, they're not necessarily wanting to be you.
And what's most rewarding for you? If you reflect on your journey and people you've mentored, what's like the one thing, or maybe two, whatever, that you think, actually, after so many years of doing this with X amount of people, whether it worked or didn't work, this is the most rewarding feeling I carry?
No, just when I see them thrive, in the various spaces that they're in, when I see them thrive, when I see them actually applying some of those lessons that we've kind of figured out together, right, in the journey. And there's one lady who reached out to me, and this one, because she's within our organization, she's like, Gugu, the strategic acumen part, I realized that I literally need to develop that, and I need you to help and guide me in terms of how to do that. And then I had to just break it down to them to say, it's about also looking beyond the space that you operate in, because yes, you can think about being strategic within your space, but if you think about strategy broadly, it has to connect all the dots within the environment you operate in, right? And when I started seeing her showing up and connecting the dots and not just embracing her space, but talking about how it impacts other areas of the business and all of that, then I realized that actually this has been fruitful, because at least I can see the transformation that has happened in her life. And she's one of our young bright stars. And for me, if we can create more young bright stars that eventually will take over from us, because we also want to go and sit and do farming at some point, right? Or fishing. Or fishing for those who fish. For me, farming. At some point I want to go and do farming, and if we have more people that can take over from us that are ready, even better.
What's the lady's name? Maybe you must just share her name.
Her name is Tokozo Memela.
Okay, Tokozo Memela. Well done, by the way. Cool. So you are very active in the industry. You judge awards and all these things. I don't know where you find the time after what you
There's no time
now. And I believe when I was talking to your team, you're jetting off very soon to Cannes, right?
Yeah.
When you look at the industry, what are you seeing and what do you hope to start seeing more of, which might be lacking, or maybe it's already there and it just needs to be pushed even further?
I think there's a lot happening in the industry, right? And in the marketing profession as well. I think marketers are being asked more than what marketers were asked a decade ago, right? In terms of they have to understand the commerciality of business even more, right? But they also have to understand the technology aspects even more, right? Because I think we're realizing now that we have to partner creativity with tech for us to win. So there's a lot that's happening from a profession point of view, industry perspective. But I think there's certain areas of the industry where we've been talking about transformation, and it just hasn't been happening at the scale that we want to see it. And I'll come to why then I actually find the time to do judging, especially with the global awards. But for me, it was about how then do I use my capacity and my influence actually to drive that transformation. And when you look at Telkom, the size of Telkom's budget, the size of Telkom's scope in the industry, it makes sense that you would also have an equally big agency backing you up and supporting you, right, in terms of driving what you do. But I realized that if we continue with that track of thinking, we are never going to have transformation in the industry. So about, I think 3 years ago, I approached the business and I said, I want to change the whole marketing ecosystem. We've been talking about transformation, and we've been doing it in terms of ensuring that the large agencies that we work with are incubating smaller agencies and working with smaller agencies. It's not enough. And I want to just shift to actually having a myriad of small independent agencies, local independent agencies actually working on our brand. They understand the dynamics of our country better than anyone else, right? They live and breathe it as they are consumers as well in this environment. So change the ecosystem. And I was so proud at the MAA Awards when one of our independents actually went on stage with us to collect an award, and that is Black Swan. Black female owned and led agency, started out as working within a bigger agency that was working with us at Telkom. When the opportunity came for all these agencies to pitch, they actually showed up very well, and they continue to show up very well today. They manage our brand design scope. They manage creative, everything creative related that we do. And for me, it was to prove that given the opportunity, and this is not about empowerment, for me, it's about showcasing excellence. Because I think if we frame it like that and we frame it differently to say, we are not just doing it to empower them, but actually they're already empowered. We just need to make sure we create the platform for them. So it's about then how do we create the platform to showcase their excellence? So that's one. But with that, then I realized that there may be the gap then in terms of having the global perspective, right? Because most of them don't have the resources and tools that the large agencies, multinational agencies that would have. So my then connection to the likes of Walk, to Can, is to make sure that I always carry that perspective, and then I can see what we bring back into our business in order to do that. And actually, when I first got invited to judge Walks, I think 3 years ago, I came back and I said, we are entering for Walk because I know what it takes to win a Lions, right? What it takes to win a Walk Award. And we actually did. Last year, we entered our Netball World Cup campaign. We came back with I think one of only 2 golds in Africa. So we got a Walk gold last year.
You see, you don't speak about your stuff. You end
yeah, we got a Walk gold because that perspective and being connected in those spaces then gave me the view that actually it's not that we are lacking the ability to have to enter those big global awards. It's just that we actually don't know. And now that we know, we must go after it.
And it's so important, Gugu. The exposure is critical. Once, to your point, you being there, and you're like, actually, we've got tons of work we've been creating that could just actually go up there and compete as well. So congratulations.
Thank you.
Continue doing, please don't stop. I know your schedule is busy and you might be tired and you're like, I don't want to do it, but just continue. We need more people doing the things that you are doing. You've been listed in many magazines, currently sitting in front of us for the work that you're doing. One of the things I always like saying about this podcast and this platform is, as much as we have the conversations, also to celebrate the individuals. So I'm very selfish about my list. That's why I come back after 2 years again. And I'm like, we haven't spoken exactly. I'm very critical about the people that we bring, and I want to showcase the work that they've done. You've played a huge role in the tech world. You continue to do that. What do you see, or where do you see this journey going around fusing technology and marketing? What does it look like? From an end-to-end process, possibly, maybe.
Well, I guess, like you say, the benefit of understanding technology deeply, for me, even getting into tech, when I did IT, I was thinking about how we use this thing to solve problems, right? Because that's what the advert said, and I think that's the power actually of marketing. If I look back, is just how they crafted that advert is what drew me in, right? And that's what we try and do as marketers, right? When we put adverts out there, we are drawing customers in, we're drawing consumers in, and telling them our story and what value we probably bring into their lives. And so for me, I think it's literally been about in whatever I do, driving impact. So I don't know what the next 5 years looks like. I think when we think time horizons in the past, we'd be like, oh, 5 years, medium term. There's no such thing anymore. 5 years literally could be a completely different space altogether, as we've seen, right? AI has been around forever. When I did software development as a subject many years ago, I did AI coding. So AI has been around forever. I think now its power and potential has been exposed, right? And that's why now it's kind of gotten so big. And one of the terms that I recently came across, so we normally talk about trends, but one of the terms I came across recently engaging a team of futurists is signals, watching the signals in the environment and the market, which kind of give you an indication where the world could be 10 years or 20 years down the line. And I guess what we are seeing is that there is definitely an integration of different spaces, right? The integration of healthcare and technology, integration of marketing and technology. And I think that's why now you are even hearing creatives. I was speaking to one creative yesterday, and they were saying, no, they've left the agency they're with, they've gone to the other one because the other one is more digitally inclined and tech inclined. So they realize that they have to have a deep understanding of how then they can use and leverage technology as a creative in developing and creating and building, right? And I think for me, it's that integration of different industries, different spaces that's coming together. And I think as marketers, if you are not deeply looking at how tech enables you, you're going to be left behind. And it doesn't have to be revolutionary things. Even within your how you are managing your customer data and picking up insights from it. What type of technology tools can you use that help you get to that process quicker, right? And we are now actually playing around with Gen AI and found a Gen AI solution that we can use to actually teach it about our own brand language, right? And all the brand assets that we have. Because, you know, when with brand assets, you have the design team in brand that always has to check, is everything centered the right way and all of that. So imagine if you didn't have to rely on a particular person doing all of that. And that person then can use their capacity to kind of formulate the longer term vision rather than just checking and ticking boxes, right? So it's about then finding its use within your space. And just because other people are saying this is the tool, it doesn't necessarily mean that tool is the best for your need, for your environment. So integrating tech and marketing, that is literally with us. It's no longer something that's coming, it's with us. Find, though, the spaces where it adds value.
No, you know, I've been recently exposed to a platform that handles that process from briefing to scoping to developing the strategy and then the output out of it. And it's phenomenal to see things like that actually come into the market. As we close off and round off, you and I'm sure we can chat here and sit forever. What's next for you? That's the first question. I know farming is the thing. And then lastly, we'll close on what's next
and I know nothing about farming.
And the last one will be what's next for Telkom. Hopefully you don't say something that spikes the share price.
I tell you. I think for me personally, it's just remaining curious and being connected to the world around me. And I guess that will define where I am in the next year, the next 2 years, the next 3 years. But I still enjoy what I'm doing. And so I'm not going farming anytime soon. So I'm still going to be actively involved in the industry and my profession. And I guess somehow it's about how I remain deeply rooted in this transformation journey, whether it's transformation for me personally, like I said, I'm in a transition as well as a parent because all my life I've had this person sitting here next to me all the time. Now they are defining their own future, right? So I still have to be there. And then I have to kind of transform then the way that I parent, because I'm no longer parenting a youngster, I'm now parenting a young adult. There's that aspect. But also just continuing to give back to the profession and the industry. I think for me, that's quite important. And how I got to land on that, I'm not one that likes being in the spotlight. And I think that's why somehow this took a while to happen. But someone said something very profound and said, if you don't do it, it's not, you must realize that it's not about you. You are denying other people learning from you. And I think when I heard that, I realized that, you know what, when I get called to share my perspective, let me do it because someone could learn from it. So I think I'm going to continue being involved in what drives our industry forward, what drives our marketing profession forward. And then for Telkom, I guess you guys must just watch the news.
Okay, cool. I'll take that. I'd like to thank whoever gave you that advice, by the way. They've helped a lot of people. So thank you for your time.
Sure.
Thank you for the knowledge that you are sharing. So glad I had you here. And I hope everyone learns from the conversation you and I had.
I hope so. Thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome.
It's been a pleasure.
Thank you.